If you're a fan of fighting game characters and like really big, strong lion machine men, then you're in luck. In this video today, we're finally gonna have a full early access guide for Banyue, and let me tell you, he is a really cool character, but he does take some getting used to. He might seem a little tricky at first, but trust me, we will break it down completely and you too will become a master of the Banyue arts. As a reminder, all of the content in this video is from the creator beta server of Zenless Zone Zero. As such, some information, results, and values might slightly change for Banyue when he fully releases. Thank you very much to Hoyoverse for granting early access, and let's dive into our new character. Banyue is our upcoming on-field S-rank fire rupture DPS from the Krampus Compliance Authority. While he is the trickiest character to play in Zenless Zone Zero, he has a bunch of concepts that it really boils down to. First, let's talk about his resources. Take a look at this meter right under his LinkedIn profile picture. This is called the Wrathful Fires meter. You can have a maximum limit of 150 of these fires, and once you have 120, you can enter the Visage of Wrath state, which is where most of Banyue's damage will come from. You can enter this Visage of Wrath state either by using chain attack or ultimate when you have the Wrathful Fires, or holding down basic attack, as you'll see in the kit breakdown. There are a few different ways to get these Wrathful Fires, but one of the main ways is to spend adrenaline, because for each point of adrenaline you consume, you'll gain half a Wrathful Fire. And Banyue loves using his EX specials, so you'll be getting a lot this way. You'll recover 4 points whenever you activate a defensive assist, 4 points when successfully parrying enemy attacks with Dodge a Movable Mountain, and this becomes 6 points if a perfect block is triggered, more on that in just a moment, and 4 points when using Perfect Dodge. For now, just know that Immovable Mountain is a direct parry that Banyue does anytime at all during his attack sequence. As for that all-important Visage of Wrath state, this is what unlocks basic attack Toppling Mountain. The Visage of Wrath state also gains 4 Mountain's Might, which is his second resource we'll talk about more during the core passive section. The second important concept is all of the different combo routes that Banyue has, and this is where he becomes a fighting game character. Basically, Banyue can combo in between his basic attack string and 4 different EX special attacks, plus 2 more that can be upgraded. In order to really understand these combos, let's dive into the kit breakdown section and talk about his basic attacks. I'll put both blurbs on the screen at the same time. Towering Peaks is activated with the normal basic attack button. Majestic Summit here on the right is activated by using the special attack button in a string. Note that this doesn't change if you have higher adrenaline, and you can still press the special attack button to get into Majestic Summit. For simplicity's sake, let's call Towering Peaks our light combo, and we'll call Majestic Summit our heavy combo. Both of these basic attacks have 4 attacks in front of them, but here's the kicker. Depending on how far along you are in the basic attack string, you can combo into different EX specials. For example, if you press the EX special button during either of the first 2 hits of light combo, you'll activate Lion's Roar. In other words, your inputs will be basic attack, EX special to get into this combo. The other EX specials activate at different times during the sequence, such as the 3rd and 4th hit of light combo, the 1st and 2nd hit of heavy combo, or the 3rd and 4th hit of heavy combo. If this is all sounding confusing so far, don't worry, because I will show you guys the most effective combo once we get through all this terminology. Basic attack Immolate is what will enter the Visage of Wrath state if you have 120 fires, and all you have to do is hold down basic attack. Basic attack Inflame will consume Banyue's HP to recover Wrathful Fires. I recommend always starting off with this move right away when you enter, because you can only use it once per battlefield. Basic attack Toppling Mountain will be used in the Visage of Wrath state, and will take those giant mountains and smash them together on the enemy. I mean, if you have a character that's voiced by Christopher Sabat, you definitely need to have some kind of Detroit or Texas, some kind of smash going on. Basic attack Crushing Peaks is also usable in the Visage of Wrath state, and will be performed after you manually use 2 different EX special attacks. This is that big old falcon punch that you see on the screen right here. Note that I said you have to manually input different EX special attacks here, because there is an automatic combo you can do as per the core passive. More on that in the core passive section. Banyue also features a couple of different dodge mechanics. The most important mechanic of his dodge is Immovable Mountain, which is that parry state I mentioned earlier. This can be used at any time during any attack from Banyue. At any point during your attacks, all you have to do is press the dodge button without moving the joystick and you'll activate it. All Might will enter this defensive stance, and if he's attacked, it'll become a perfect block. The second dodge mechanic is called Battle Cry, a direct taunt towards the enemies. This is activated by rotating your joystick in a half circle and pressing dodge. On keyboard, this is just using WAS or WDS in a row to get that half circle. However, I much prefer just using Immovable Mountain rather than this dodge Battle Cry in order to obtain those all-important 6 Wrathful Fires. The only other things to mention about his dodges are his regular dash attack can be comboed into either the second hit of light or heavy combo, and his dodge counter will go into the third hit of either combo. Banyue's chain attack is completely normal, just remember that this is one of the ways you can enter Visage of Wrath state if you have 120 fires. The only thing to note about his assist follow-ups is that you have one for regular assisting and from Immovable Mountain, and either way this will recover Wrathful Fires. Now I'm gonna need you guys to lock in and get ready to hit the lab, because we're gonna start talking about his EX specials. Remember that depending on where you're at in the light or heavy combo of basic attack, you can combo into different EX specials. Take a look at this blurb, because each EX special also has a perfect cancel window. Basically, all of this text just states that if you use the perfect windows correctly, you won't lose any damage during Banyue's combos. This is indicated by this red flashing effect. For this part of the video, feel free to pause and follow along as you need. Let's start with EX special attack Lion's Roar. There are 2 different ways to activate Lion's Roar. The first way doesn't really get used as much, but it can be activated after the first or second hit of light combo by pressing special. Slowed down, that is light, special attack. The second most common way to use it is after any other EX special, basic attack immolate, chain attack, ultimate, assist follow-up, dodge counter, or quick assist. The main thing we're concerned with here is comboing it out of other EX special attacks, using the quick input listed here. In other words, Banyue will use an EX special and then quickly press light, heavy in order to activate EX special attack Lion's Roar. In my personal favorite combo that Banyue does, this is actually the last input of the sequence. EX special attack Mountain Tremor is the exact opposite inputs that we just mentioned. This once again has 2 different ways to activate, either the first or second hit of basic attack heavy combo, the Majestic Summit, or out of any of that big list of moves, specifically EX special attack, by quickly pressing heavy light. For this one, Banyue picks up a mountain and throws it at the enemy. Basically, for these 2 EX specials, you just want to remember that quick input sequence of light, heavy for Lion's Roar, or heavy, light for Mountain Tremor, when comboing out of any other EX special. But here's a little bit of an interesting idea. You don't ever want to start your combo with these 2, and here's why. Take a look at these 2 blurbs. They are the exact same Lion's Roar Wrath and Mountain Tremor Wrath. Indeed, these 2 are upgraded versions of these EX specials. However, you have to specifically use them after the other 2 EX specials we haven't talked about. Let's do this by starting with EX special attack One's Path, which is where these beads are thrown out dealing fire damage. The first way to activate is by using heavy, light, heavy as an input sequence after another EX special. The other main way that you'll start with this one is the 3rd or 4th hit of the heavy basic attack string. Note that you can also go straight out of assist follow-up, dodge counter, or quick assist by holding down basic attack. But I saved my favorite one for last, Earthshaker. This is Banyue's best EX special combo starter, and you'll always see me use it first in the gameplay footage. This is activated either through the 3rd or 4th hit of the light basic attack string, or light, heavy, light after any other EX special. We'll make that a lot more digestible in just a second. When your decibel rating is at 3000, aka max, you know what time it is. Press Q to activate this beautiful animation for ultimate The World Trembles. The only thing to notice about this is that it will automatically enter you into Visage of Wrath if you have those Wrathful Fires. Okay, we finally got through all of that. Now let's break this down so that it becomes second nature for you all to master. At its core, Banyue is an on-field attacker. You want to be getting all of his Wrathful Fires as much as you can through that dodge movable mountain parry and using EX specials mainly. This will be the most important thing to master for Banyue, the different combos in and out of each EX special. I personally recommend setting your adrenaline meter to full in the training mode and just practicing these different combinations so you get the hang of them. The bread and butter combo that I always use is as follows. I start by using the first 3 hits of basic attack Towering Peaks, which is our light combo. By pressing special after that 3rd or 4th hit, I enter Earth Shaker and do those punches on the ground. By hitting heavy light during the perfect cancel window, I then enter EX special attack Mountain Tremor Wrath, which is that upgraded version. The next sequence of inputs is heavy, light, heavy during the cancel window to enter one's path. Lastly, press light, light, heavy to get into EX special attack Lion's Roar Wrath, which is the upgraded version of that one. In fighting game terms, this is your bread and butter combo, one that you must master in order to really learn Banyue. By just practicing this with that full adrenaline and training mode, you'll really get an understanding of the buttons, the timings, and the combos required to use them. Outside of Visage of Wrath, you'll be using this in order to get your Wrathful Fires. However, inside the Visage of Wrath state, you can do this to spend those Mountain's Might points, indicated here on the core passive. However, you do have 2 options inside the Visage of Wrath state. You can do this better way of manually learning and inputting the combos and unlocking basic attack Crushing Peaks. Alternatively, you can do this automatic combo by just simply holding down the EX special button. There's only a couple more things that we haven't discussed with the core passives. With Mountain's Might, when launching an EX special attack, you'll no longer consume adrenaline, instead consuming one of these points and restoring 10 adrenaline. Based on additional ability Mountain Zenith, when you consume these points, you'll gain a stack of Vidya Raja, which will increase fire damage by 5%, stacking up to 3 times, lasting 8 seconds. The last 2 things to talk about with core passive, one with the mountains, is this first blurb right here that talks about extra sheer force based on his max HP and his conversion rate, and this last one that says when he uses an EX special or assist follow-up, he increases sheer force by 300, fire damage by 36%, and crit damage by 36% for 30 seconds. If you have any questions about his kit or his gameplay at all, let me know in the comments below and I'll answer everything that I can. For starters, if you learn that bread and butter combo of Earthshaker into Mountain Tremor Wrath, into one's path, into Lion's Roar Wrath, and then proceed by going into Crushing Peaks, you'll already maximize his damage. And his damage is outstanding, especially in those burst stun windows. He is a bit difficult to understand and play at first, but if you take the time to practice, especially those perfect cancel windows, you really won't have any problem with Banyue. Since that kit breakdown went a little long, we luckily don't have to spend as much time on his team synergy. Just remember that he wants to be on the field for a pretty good amount of time. His best partner will be the character we just had, Thiren, who is also from Krampus Compliance Authority. He also pairs really well with anybody who doesn't want to be on the field as much, since he predominantly wants to spend all of his on-field time getting Wrathful Fires. My favorite team to use for Banyue was himself, Lucia, and Thiren, and this team is just very strong. Lucia's buffs are very powerful, especially for Rupture agents, and she doesn't want to be on the field hardly for any amount of time at all. I also really liked Banyue with other stunners like Jafufu and Kalita. Granted, Kalita does want to be on the field for a little bit longer, but the faster you can stun the enemy, the quicker you can get into those big Banyue burst windows. For a free-to-play option, you can always consider Pan Yingfu as well. He still has really strong rupture buffs, and he also doesn't want to be on the field for very long. Although it is important to remember that he quick assists to the character before him, not after. Let's go ahead and hop into the best builds, starting with the W engines for Banyue. His best in slot will of course be the signature made for him, Wrathful Vajra. The advanced stat is HP %, which is obviously extremely good for any rupture agent, and he gets an all-important 20% crit rate boost for free. Whenever he launches an EX special attack, sheer force damage for fire increases by 9%, stacking up to 2 times and lasting 20 seconds, with each duration of the stack being calculated separately. If you're torn between this and Mindscape 1, his signature W engine is definitely worth prioritizing first. However, if you don't get his signature, he actually has 3 other decent options. For another S rank, Qingming Birdcage is a totally acceptable option. Past this, his best A rank option is Grill O Wisp, both for that fire damage as well as the crit rate increase based on how much HP you lose. However, if you don't have any of these, you can use Radio Wave Journey. As for his best disk drives, there's only a couple of options you should be using. The only 4-piece you should be using on Banyue is Yunquei Tails, which is pretty similar across all of the rupture agents. As for 2 pieces, start off with Woodpecker Electro for the crit rate, especially if you don't get his W engine. If you do have enough crit rate, you can swap your 2-piece to be either Inferno Metal for the fire damage, or Branch and Blade Song for crit damage. As for main stats, on slot 4 start with crit rate or crit damage, slot 5 should be fire damage % or HP %, and slot 6 should only be HP %. Substats follow the same priority of crit rate being slightly better than crit damage, being slightly better than HP %, then flat HP, and then the rest. As for our cute little helper friends, the Bang Boos, his best in slot will be Burke Bleak if you pair him with Dial-In. However, I also loved using all of the classic energy regen Bang Boos like our good goat, Butler. For those of you who want to level up your Prince Vegeta, All Might, or whatever else you want to call him, let's talk about some Mindscapes. All things considered, Mindscape 1 is pretty good, I just prefer the W engine. It states that when Banyue hits an enemy with EX Special Attack Once Path or Earthshaker, he inflicts Tremor. In Tremor, enemies' fire resistance is reduced by 10%, lasting 30 seconds. When any of the other EX Specials, or Toppling Mountain, or Crushing Peaks hits an enemy in Tremor, sheer damage dealt is increased by 10%. Crushing Peaks, which is that big Falcon Punch, hits a stunned enemy, the current stun duration will be extended by 2 seconds, and can trigger once per stun. So ultimately, just a bunch of really good damage increases or fire resistance reduction. Mindscape 2 gives you an extra 15% crit damage and fire damage bonus from the core passive. When you consume Mountain's Might to unleash an EX special attack and Visage of Wrath, you'll gain an additional 5 adrenaline as well. Mindscape 4 gives a 30% damage increase to basic attack Crushing Peaks and Toppling Mountain, and both of the empowered EX specials, Lion's Roar Wrath and Mountain Tremor Wrath. Mindscape 6 takes that Vidya Raja buff and extends it to any EX special attack. Will also provide an additional 8% fire damage bonus and will extend the duration to 30 seconds. When using basic attack Crushing Peaks, Banyue will deal fire damage equal to 600% of his sheer force to nearby enemies. You will also be able to use Dodge Battle Cry immediately after EX special to grant Vidya Raja. And there you have it for a full early access guide on our new Lion Powerful Mech Man. If you don't take anything else from this video, just know that he is an exceptionally fun to play character, and he's not nearly as tricky as it sounds or as the long essays of text make you think. He will take some practice, so it's definitely worth going into training mode and learning the different button combinations and combos to really master his skill set. But I gotta say, he's one of the most fun characters we've ever had in the game, and it's definitely worth pulling, especially if you like the challenge and want something a little bit different. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, or remarks about Banyue, his kit, or how to use him, let me know in the comments below, and I'll answer each one that I can. If this guide helped in any way, please make sure to like the video. As well, make sure to hit that subscribe button with the bell icon on so you know when our next early access videos go live, as well as some future planned meta videos coming up soon. In the meantime, best of luck to all of you in your Banyue pulling endeavors, and may Banyue wanters be Banyue havers. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.